5 New York Islanders prospects are set to play in the Summer World Junior Tournament. Plus, Vladimir Tarasenko signs with a team fighting with the Islanders for a playoff spot. We've got all that and more on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome, everybody, to the Friday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you can get new episodes as soon as they drop. And you can also find us now on SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just do a search for Locked On Islanders. We have got a lot to discuss on today's show, but first, if there's something Islanders related on your mind, if you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, feel free to send us an email. The email address, lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we talk about whatever it is that's on your mind. You can also follow the show on Twitter at Locked On Isles, and you can follow me, Gil Martin, on Twitter at Ice Wars, NYR VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders throughout the offseason, hirings, firings, trade rumors, free agency. If it's happening to the Islanders, we will have it for you here on the Locked On Islanders podcast. Hope everyone is keeping cool during these hot summer days. But one thing that is a little bit of a blow to the New York Islanders, not so much that, I really thought that he was realistically going to be with the Islanders, because I didn't really have any illusions of that. But Vladimir Tarasenko, one of the last big free agent names out there, making it official, signing a 1-year, $5 million contract to sign with the Ottawa Senators, one of the teams that finished not too far behind the Islanders in the race for those wild card spots, a team that is considered a young and up-and-coming team. Tarasenko signing, and it includes a full no-trade clause. Now, again, it's a 1-year deal. All the no-trade clause really means is that if the Senators want to trade him at the trade deadline or before, he has to sign off on it. But at the very least, it makes it less likely that Tarasenko ends up being traded this year, that he's going to spend one full season in Ottawa. And look, you again can say what you want about the Senators, but they still have another move that they probably have to make. They've done a few things to make this team better during the offseason, but whether or not that will pay off for the Senators remains to be seen. But the reason that I think they have another move to make is that they only have $32,620 left in cap space, according to Cap Friendly, and yet they still have a couple of restricted free agents in Igor Sokolov and Shane Pinto, who both need to be re-signed. So again, this becomes the question, whether or not the Ottawa Senators, are going to basically be a better team this year after making the moves that they made during the off season. And the big one, obviously, signing a goalie in Eunice Korpisalo, who very well could help them improve and get over the hurdle of missing the playoffs. Now you add a goal scorer in Vladimir Tarasenko. And again, $5 million is the salary. It's a 1-year deal. That $5 million just happens to be the exact amount of, of Jean-Gabriel Pageau's salary. And now, again, I'm not saying it would have been a smart move to trade Pageau just to get Tarasenko for 1 year. In fact, I don't think that would necessarily be a good move. And I'm not saying Tarasenko was the best fit on the Islanders. But again, here we are at the end of July. August 1st is what? Tuesday of next week. We are at the end of July. This is the quietest time on the hockey calendar of the year. And the Islanders still have not been able to acquire either the puck-moving defenseman that Lou Lamoriello has said now for, 2 off seasons that they really should have added, or 2 off seasons and 2 trade deadlines. And they still haven't added that goal scorer. Now, yeah, some people will say, oh, yes, they did. They added Bo Horvat. And, Horvat is a goal scorer. Not a sniper necessarily, but still a goal scorer. But clearly, for the New York Islanders right now, the needs that they had going into this offseason remain the needs that they have now. And those needs, in short, are a goal-scoring winger, a puck-moving defenseman, and a way to improve the power play. And keep in mind, these are not 3 separate issues, because if you get that puck-moving defenseman who can quarterback the power play, you improve both the breakout from your own zone and the power play. And if you get that scoring winger, almost all 30-plus goal scorers also see time with the extra attacker. You add the goal scorer to the first line or even the second line, and you're also most likely improving your power play. So all of these needs remain intertwined. And, the frustrating thing from a fan perspective is just that none of these needs were necessarily addressed by the team during this offseason. And I hope that, to me, it still makes sense to add the defenseman now in the offseason, and then the goal scorer if you're in contention for a playoff spot or want to improve your chances of competing for the cup. Then you can make that move closer to the trade deadline and save some valuable cap space. I get that. But to know that this team has not made any moves that have improved the power play, the puck-moving defenseman issue, or the goal-scoring winger issue. And here we are again, 1 month, roughly 5-6 weeks, let's say, away from the start of training camp, and there's no cap space out there. It does get a little more than a little frustrating for Islanders fans who have to, deal with that. Now, that being said, I'm not saying this team is bad. There is talent on this team. There are reasons to believe that this team can make the playoffs again. I don't think they're a cup contender right now, but you still got one of the best goaltending duos in the NHL. You have a lot of third and second line players who can be productive. You have, Pelech and Pulak as good, solid defenders. Romanov is up and coming. Mayfield is steady. It's not that this team lacks ability. They just don't seem to be significantly better unless Bo Horvat becomes a 30-plus goal guy on Long Island, unless Oliver Wahlstrom gets you 20-plus goals to at least replace the productivity that you had a year ago with Zach Parise, unless Pierre Engvall can give you 20-plus goals over the course of a full season. There are a lot of ifs. Can Matthew Barzal stay healthy? Can Kyle Palmieri stay healthy? Can the identity line stay healthy? Can Noah Dobson get his confidence back and improve his play in his own zone? There are ways for this team to get better, but bringing back the same older team doesn't fill fans with a lot of confidence at the present moment. And let's see whether or not this team can do better this year and whether or not a late move is still possible. We have got a lot more to get to on today's show. When we come back, 5 Islanders prospects are set to appear in the Summer World Junior Tournament. We'll talk about all 5, which team they play for, what the expectations are. We've got all that and more still to come on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by a product that I literally use every day, AG1 by Athletic Greens. Maybe you're like me, you want to be healthy and eat well, but it's always easier said than done. That's no longer the case with AG1. One delicious scoop of AG1 in a glass of water each day gives you 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, nervous system, immune system, energy, recovery, focus, and aging, all those things. And AG1 costs you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's still cheaper than your cold brew habit. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drink/AG1.com/NHL Network. That's drinkag1.com/NHL Network. Check it out. So 5 Islanders prospects are set to compete at the upcoming World Junior Summer Showcase. It's going to get started this weekend in Plymouth, Michigan. So it's being held in the United States, and there are 5 Islander prospects. So look, you can say what you want about, the Islanders not having a deep prospect pool. And look, nobody's going to argue with that. But there are at least 5 players here who are going to get a look at this showcase, and I think that is a good thing when all is said and done. Let's start with this list. Zach Schultz of the USA. United States has 2 teams. There's USA white team, blue team, and then there's Sweden and Finland sending teams to the tournament. It takes place from July 29th to August 4th. So it'll be 4 games for each team. And then, again, we'll have the, interesting matchups, to say the least, once it all gets underway. So Zach Schultz is the first prospect, 6th-round pick this year by the Islanders. He is the only Islanders prospect on the USA white team. He is from the University of Wisconsin, and he is a left shot defenseman, very much more of a stay-at-home defenseman. Had 1 goal and 9 assists in 52 games with the U.S. development team. And, he is one of those guys who is more of a leader, captained Team USA at the 2022 Under-18 World Junior Championships. And, not a big offensive guy. He's a stay-at-home guy. That's why he fell to the 6th round. But it'll be interesting to see how he fares going up against some of the top talent in his age group. 2 other players playing for Team USA. Danny Nelson, the Islanders' first pick in this year's draft, 2nd round, 49th overall, is one of two players playing for the USA blue team. And Nelson is a center, and he is also going to be playing at the University of Wisconsin along with Finley. 21 goals and 26 assists, so 47 points in 62 games with the U.S. national development team. And, did play with Team USA at the World Junior Championships over the winter, had 7 points in 7 games, 4 goals and 3 assists. And if you remember our discussion of him after the Islanders drafted him, he's one of those guys who patterns his game after Brock Nelson, and at 6'3", you would understand that. So he will be joining the blue team on Team USA, and his teammate on the blue team will be Quinn Finley. And Finley basically is a left wing, also attending the University of Wisconsin. 3rd-round pick by the Islanders back in 2022. Had 25 goals and 65 points in 55 games in the United States Hockey League, split between Madison and Chicago, and again, headed to the University of Wisconsin in the fall. They are looking to see, what kind of plays he can make. He is one of those guys who sees the ice well, and it really becomes a question of, again, how he competes against some of the top prospects in his age group. Now, the Islanders also have 2 players who are playing for the European teams, one for Finland and one for Sweden. Representing Finland will be Jesse Nurmi, the 4th-round pick by the Islanders in this year's draft. And, Nurmi is a left wing, 18 years old, 5'10", $165, played for an under-20 team in Finland, and had 21 goals and 50 points in 41 games, then had 1 assist in 9 games playing on the more senior team. And look, he cannot come to North America till 2025, 2026 at the earliest, but this is a good chance to see how he fares against top international competition. And then the other player representing the Islanders and basically playing for Team Sweden is Calle Odelius, 2nd-round pick by the Islanders back in 2022, like it's so long ago, right? A year ago. But 3rd-round pick, left shot defenseman playing for Sweden. This is the 2nd time he's done that. Had 1 goal in 7 games at the winter version of the World Junior Championships. Had a goal and 10 assists in 43 games in the Swedish Hockey League, and basically has 1 more year left in Europe before he can join the New York Islanders. So overall, to me, Odelius remains one of the higher regarded prospects for the Islanders, and to have him take part in this, to me, all these guys are going to gain valuable experience. But Danny Nelson and Calle Odelius, to me, are the guys I'm going to be watching the most. They are, among the more highly regarded prospects that will be taking part in this tournament for the New York Islanders, and they are really hoping to make a positive showing and really give the Islanders a little bit more, a little bit more hope that some of these prospects can help the team in the future play at, a high level. So we'll see whether or not any of them make their mark, and this is definitely something that we will be following when it comes to next week. Fill you in on how the Islanders prospects are doing at the tournament. So make sure you join us Monday as we have our next show. We have got a lot more to get to on today's show. Here we are at the end of July, and we still don't know anything about the future of the assistant coaches on this team. We're going to talk about John MacLean and the Islanders power play, plus our Islanders birthday of the day. All that and more still to come on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. So here it is. We are nearing the end of July. And at his belated press conference in, June 1st, give or take, Lou Lamoriello said no final decisions have been made on the assistant coaches. He did say that Lane Lambert was going to be back, and that was fine, okay. But power play coach John MacLean still officially employed by the New York Islanders. And I, for one, am at a loss to understand how this is possible. The Islanders had the 30th ranked power play in the NHL, only converted 15.8% of their power play chances. And you could say, yeah, okay, they missed Matthew Barzal. He missed the end of the season. You can give me all kinds of excuses as to why this team didn't do well on the power play. And some of them are legitimate. I mean, obviously, having Barzal there would have helped. Having a healthy Kyle Palmieri for 82 games would have helped. But the problem remains that this team is not strategically doing the things that it needs to do. You can sit there and say, yeah, there is a lack of goal scoring on this team. And you'd be right. I mean, no one had more than 6 power play goals, and that was Anders Lee and Brock Nelson, each having 6. That is not good, okay? That is not good enough. But again, everydayers, you know that this power play doesn't do the things that a power play needs to do to be successful. And that is tiring out the defense and the penalty killers, keeping them off balance, making them chase the puck and or players. And that means passing the puck quickly or moving without the puck to open up time and space and create opportunities. It means taking more shots and not passing up very good chances to try to create perfect chances. It means making adjustments when what you're doing isn't working. And realistically, the Islanders either relied on Matthew Barzal to skate the puck into the zone, or they tried to do the same thing with Noah Dobson, and that didn't work. Or they would dump it in and chase, which really didn't always work. So a rough, just the fact that this team could be so bad on the power play, 30th in the regular season. The fact that they only scored 1 power play goal in their 6-game playoff series against Carolina and gave up a shorthanded goal as well. The fact that the power play kills momentum on this team. There is more to it than just the lack of goal scorers on this roster. And it is beyond me how this team could not have made a move to change the coach running this power play after the miserable season that the Islanders had. And look, I am rarely the guy who says, yeah, fire him. He stinks. He's terrible. I don't want. No. I mean, these are people with families, with jobs, but this is professional sports. And in professional sports, you need to get results. It's a result-oriented business, and the results just haven't been there for the Islanders. And it goes beyond just the lack of talent. It goes to the way this team played and was coached and the strategy, and it needs to improve. And it's baffling to me that no move has been made up till this point. All right, time now for our Islanders birthday of the day. And today is the 54th birthday of former Islanders goalie and former Islanders general manager Garth Snow, a native of Wrentham, Massachusetts, drafted in the 6th round by the Quebec Nordiques back in 1987, spent 4 years at the University of Maine, played 5 games in 93-94 for the Nordique, 2 games the following year, then was with the Flyers, the Canucks, the Penguins, and then joined the Islanders in 2001-2002, stuck with the team through 05-06, and then graduated to the front office. And Garth Snow, first of all, great guy. Had the opportunity to speak with him many times while he was GM. Dry sense of humor, good guy. Generally, as the GM, tried to do a lot for this team with very often a limited budget. Had his good moves and bad moves. We all know that. But to me, Garth Snow deserves another chance at a job somewhere in the National Hockey League. We look at one of his better performances with the Islanders, April 4th, 2002, at the Fleet Center in Boston. Islanders and Bruins, obviously Garth Snow, the goalie for the Islanders, Byron Defoe, the goalie for Boston. And this game was tied 1-1 after regulation. Mariusz Czerkowski scoring for the Islanders, Glenn Murray for the Bruins. But in overtime, Oleg Kavasha gets an unassisted goal at 3:29, and the Islanders beat the Bruins 2-1. But Garth Snow in this game, 39 saves to earn the win. Islanders outshot 40-16, but because of the outstanding performance by Garth Snow, the Islanders end up with the W. So again, happy birthday to Garth Snow. He is our Islanders birthday of the day. I want to thank everyone again for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Everydayers, Monday on the show, we'll start talking a little bit about how some of these players are doing. Islanders prospects at the World Juniors Summer Tournament, and we'll have the latest Islanders news and notes and happenings, so make sure you join us for that. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe, and of course, let's go Islanders.